Okay, we're recording. Oh. Hi, Jesse. How's it going today?
Hi, it's going okay.
How was your week this week? Or
Um,
actually, how's the last 2 weeks been?
yeah. Um, it's been a lot of ups and downs. Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of ups and downs, and I have a lot of stress about moving, and I have a lot of like emotions about moving. Um, and that's been really kind of difficult. That's been like pretty difficult for me to deal with. And I've just been feeling a lot of anxiety this week. Um, so yeah, I also got into a fight with one of my friends, which really, and it was like my fault because I'm so like emotionally like up and down these days. So like it was my fault, but I'm still mad at her, and it's just really bad because she's one of my only friends here in Baltimore. I only have like 3 or 4 friends in Baltimore because I moved here 2 years ago, and so that feels really bad to be in a fight with someone right now, and it makes me feel like bad that I kind of overreacted or whatever.
Let's talk about that. Would you mind sharing with me what happened?
Um, it's actually really stupid. Like she posted something on Instagram that was really triggering for me. Um, something that really was really triggering about like a recent trauma that I went through, and um, I got really mad and just started writing back to her on Instagram. So like, and and then she started writing back, and then it became this whole thing, and I ended up saying something really messed up, and we like she took the thing off Instagram, and then we were just texting with each other, and I was like, I'm really sorry. I know what I said was completely not okay. Like there's no excuse, but obviously I'm like going through a lot right now. Um and she was like, yeah, I definitely want to eventually like mend the relationship, but also right now I don't feel like talking to you. So we both kind of like made this agreement that whenever we're ready to talk to each other again, we will. And I'm trying to not be angry about what she said because I know she didn't mean it in a way that was hurtful. It's just like I was easily like upset by it.
So you were angered and upset by what she posted,
Yeah,
and you all pretty much hashed it out over social media and then over text.
yeah,
Okay. So we're going to work a little bit through something called the ABCs,
hmm,
and you just helped me out with an activating event.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so your beliefs around that, can you um, share with me what you were feeling in the moment? Like you mentioned
Yeah,
anger and it
I
was
was.
triggering.
Yeah, I was really angry. Both of us um, experienced like um, a similar kind of like trauma over the past year, and the way she wrote about it was, I mean, she didn't write about the trauma, but the way she wrote about things was just so irreverent, and I knew the personal um I knew her personal like situation, like what happened with her, and I know that she didn't call 911 when there was an emergency, and then her friend ended up dying from suicide, and that made me mad because the post was about not calling 911 and how you're not supposed to call the cops and you're not supposed to call 911, and I'm like, that's how people die, that's how your friend died. And then she got really mad, and yeah, it was just like really triggering. It was like, can you not post that? Like, because the more people that are like afraid of the cops so they don't call 911, the more people in emergency situations end up dying and not getting the help that they need. So I gave a bunch of examples of times when like I needed to call 911 and I did, and my partner survived, and I probably got like an extra year or so with my partner that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't called 911 on him. So I wrote that to her, and then she was like, and then eventually at some point I wrote something really awful, which is, if you knew that your friend was like actively suicidal and you didn't call 911, you're complicit in her death. And I said that. And I know that's like a really not okay thing to say. And I really regret it. And I apologize for it a bunch of times, because you don't know what to do in those situations, you know? You can't expect people to like know what to do. Anyway, so I'm still angry at her for posting that thing to begin with, because it's like, who are you helping? Like, by saying not to trust the police, so don't call 911. Like, anyway.
It does sound like this is a maybe a little too fresh for us to really kind of use this, because I can hear you kind of getting excitable about it, and I can hear the frustration in your voice, that she is out there posting things that aren't helpful to others, about a serious situation.
Yeah.
So I want to honor that this is a little too fresh, a little too new for you, and that you guys are still working it out, and that you've got a plan to work it out. Maybe we can work on that. When you said at the end that you guys decided to both just take some time to cool off, right? And that you would contact each other when you were ready to speak. How did you feel?
Yeah.
If you can think back to that, how did that feel when she said that to you?
I said it to her first.
Okay.
And then she like was like, I agree, like we need some time before we can talk again. And I feel good about it, because I feel like within like a couple of weeks I'm gonna cool down from it and like realize that she has her own trauma that she's dealing with, and what I said was like awful and unexcusable. And but also like that I was, you know, freshly traumatized and speaking out of that. So it felt good to be like, it felt good to know, like we both said, like I said in my first text to her, or like one of the, I was like, I want to mend this relationship. I don't want this to like end our relationship because we disagree about this. And she agreed. She was like, I want to mend our relationship too. And I was like, well, we just need like whenever we're both ready. And that felt really good to me, because I want her in my life. I want her to be my friend. And I did say something really awful. And I wanted her to know that I did apologize, but I want her to really know that like it wasn't acceptable what I said. And yeah.
Okay. So you sound like you feel like you really took the grown-up road and said this wasn't right. It did come out of a place of being triggered, and I don't want that to. It's inexcusable, and I do not want that to sever our relationship. Okay, so that was good. I want to take you back a little bit to last week. when we did a little bit about, we did the empty chair. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Somewhat? Okay. You talked a lot last week about not having a lot of friends and feeling that just because you don't have a lot of friends, you weren't good because you didn't have a lot of friends. That you were popular for that reason because you didn't have gobs of friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's work on a little bit with that. Do you remember when you went last or 2 weeks ago, you went out for a night and you said that was like going out more than once?
Yeah. It
Right.
felt like that was my going out for the whole month. Yeah.
Right. Well, because you also went to a bar, correct, where you're not necessarily always comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. So those beliefs centered around you not having a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Can you share with me, would you be willing to share with me some of your feelings that you have around that belief?
There's a lot of like shame and a lot of like self-blame of like I don't try hard enough. I get anxious around other people. It's really hard for me to maintain relationships because I get so anxious, and I'm getting a lot better at it now, but it's always been a source of shame for me that like I don't have as much like community or that I want. And then especially like when a lot of like what I've learned as a mental health patient is like it's really important to have a support system. And I just have that hammered into my head over and over again. It's really important to have a support system. And then when I don't have that support system, I feel a lot of shame for not, because that's going to make me worse. Like, I'm not going to get better. There's this like ingrained belief that I'm not going to get better until I have like a really solid support system, because I hear that so much.
What does your support system look like?
What?
What does your support system look like?
Well, I mean, if I really look at it right now, it's actually pretty good. I have both of my parents. I have my sister, my younger sister. I have I have a couple of friends that like aren't going anywhere. And I did have the friend that I got in a fight with was a major part of my support system. So, that I think it's extra upsetting because of that. I don't really think I'm doing so badly on that front, at least not as badly as I have in the past. So yeah, if I really take an honest look at it, I actually do have, enough of a support system that I'm not at risk. I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah. Like I feel like I have enough of a support system that I'm not at the higher risk that I was in the past, like a higher risk of my mental illness, of being hospitalized again, or like my mental illness getting worse.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in a good spot right now, even though you had an argument or a fight with a close friend who you feel
Yeah.
was in your support system, would you say she still is in your support system?
Not right now, because I can't reach out to her right now because we're both too angry and I don't want to talk to her. Um, but I do believe that whenever we are ready to talk again, she will be once again a big part of my support system. And I believe that we can make it through this difficulty and come out on the other side, maybe even closer because we went through this.
Your thoughts of your vision for seeing the relationship strongly, and that even though you guys had an argument and you need a cooling off period, but that you'll be even stronger is it's very healthy to have that. So if I could have you, I want to try some imagery with you.
Sure.
I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think of this relationship you have with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
You need a cooling off period,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, yes, that's needed. But if you were to imagine a staircase and how you would go about repairing this relationship with her, can you start at the bottom step for me and then kind of take me up the stairs to where you would get to that platform of a healthy relationship with her again, and someone you can call?
So yeah, right now I'm at the bottom of the staircase because we're both not talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first step would be, when I feel ready, to be like, I feel ready to talk to you again. I apologize. I once again apologize for the really inappropriate thing I said to you. And I really would love it if we could meet up in person and talk about this. And then I guess the next step after that would be waiting for her to text me back or call me back. And then after that, it would be finding a place to meet where we could talk, and a place that, isn't triggering at all or isn't going to make us upset. And then the next step would be meeting there with her. And the next step would be empathizing, like empathizing with her, showing compassion, showing that I actually do feel remorse, and I do apologize for what I said, and letting her and being honest about it so that she knows that I really do care about her and my intent, and I know, and I did hurt her, and that I don't want that to happen again, and my intention wasn't to hurt her, and I was triggered and I was speaking out of like a negative place. So I guess the next step after that would be for her to forgive me. I guess somewhere in there that I left out would be a step of me. Oh yeah, like I think the first step is me not being angry at her anymore, which is going to happen soon probably, because I'm angry at her for what she posted, and she posts stuff all the time, and I just need to get over it. So yeah, the first step would be not being angry at her anymore, then reaching out, then finding a place to meet, then extending empathy and compassion, and then hopefully she forgives me, and then moving forward with a friendship.
How does that feel to see yourself walk up those steps to that platform?
It's really helpful. It's really helpful because I hadn't thought before of like how would this happen, And because of that, I was still feeling so much residual anxiety about it. And right now I feel like this can be fixed, and not only fixed, but we can grow from it. Like I can grow from it, she can grow from it, like, and our relationship could get even closer. So it actually really helped just going up those steps and figuring out like what needs to happen for us to reconciliate. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So I want to wrap up.
Okay.
So this week was a lot for you. You still have a lot going on with school.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to touch on school.
Yeah.
So you have a move coming up.
Yeah.
I see your boxes in the background.
Yeah.
And a new job. We didn't even get to really talk about how your new job is feeling for you. But I want to thank you for sharing with me such a heavy event, and such a close to home event for yourself. So I want to leave you with a little bit of homework.
Okay.
For this week, to just give yourself a little bit of the empathy you're willing to give your friend. The fact that you got a little triggered from a spot that you guys have both gone through, and you both worked through it very differently. But to also give yourself a little bit of love, that you're willing to work on this relationship with her, and she means that much to you.
Yeah.
And that's okay that you did what you did. You were not that behavior.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a really great point, is that I am not that behavior. Like that behavior was horrible, but that doesn't make me a horrible person.
exactly. Yeah. So maybe this week, just keep in mind or write down one or two things that you do that, again, aren't, that you might have done, but are positive things. Like you see yourself, moving forward, you're doing school, you're moving to a new place, you're trying a new job. Write down two good things that really happened to you during your day. At the end of the day, just write that down. And I'm hoping that maybe you'll share a few of those with me next week when we talk.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you again for being here today and for making it, and for really sharing that event with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. We're going to find the stop.